As a CEO, there are times when you are overloaded with information and this can lead to confusion. Well, there's a way to get out of it and we're going to find out how. Are you seeking to be a high performance CEO or to learn personal leadership and be a CEO of your own life? Well, then you've come to the right place because we share real stories from the experiences of CEOs for you to learn from. And so you don't miss out, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Let's get into it. Recently, I was traveling to the Middle East. There was a lot going on, a lot to prepare for. I was pitching, I was meeting new people, I was traveling with a new colleague. I'd never been to the Middle East before. It was a new town. Everything was new. Not only that, whilst we were there, we were given many conferences to go through. In fact, I felt overloaded, too much information. However, there is a simple way to get clarity and get out of that, and we're going to talk about that now. Now, there's a simple framework to keep in mind, and just draw a little picture in your mind where clarity is at the top. Moving clockwise, there will be another bubble, let's call it new information. Down the bottom, there's confusion. And then importantly, there's that piece which takes you back up to the top. I'm going to call that endeavor. I call this a circle of clarity and confusion. And whenever you go into learning something, you're going to go through this. Starting with some clarity, you walk in there, fresh, new information is coming in. There's going to be an element of confusion as you come up to speed to learn something new for the first time. So you're going to move into that element of confusion. But over time and with some effort, you can move back up to a state of clarity. First of all, let's talk about the difference between clarity and confusion. Clarity is being able to forecast the future, being able to make clear decisions, decisive decisions, being able to act and move forward with your life, with your projects, with your plans. Clarity is needed for that. Being able to see a few steps ahead. That's what I call clarity. Confusion is when you don't know what the next steps are. You feel perhaps overloaded with new information and nothing is making sense. It's very difficult to plan forward. And as a CEO or even a CEO in your own life or just in life in general, being in a state of confusion can be quite frightening. I remember an incident when I was in an aircraft. I used to fly airplanes and I was training. There was so much information coming in, I didn't really quite know what to do next. I became completely paralyzed by the confusion. I didn't know what to do. Luckily, that situation resolved itself, got out of that situation of confusion, was able to control the airplane and bring it back into land. Obviously, that's a very dramatic situation, which is not the same as we often get in life, but we can still be paralyzed by confusion and not know which way to go forward. So before we talk about how to get from confusion back to clarity, let's see how we went from clarity to confusion. Let's imagine you're in a classroom learning a new subject, perhaps a new language. So for example, if you've ever tried to learn a new language, you may find that you just can't remember from one thing to the next. Every word seems to be new to you, and every time you come back to that word, you don't remember it. And in my travel situation, there was certainly a build-up of many new pieces of information. Now, I can't put all those into my memory, let's call it our RAM, if you like, if you want to use a computer term, all at once. They don't go together, don't fit together. It's a little bit like a puzzle which is being cast in front of you and all the pieces don't fit together. So that's the confusion. A good analogy would be a puzzle which has no parts put together. It's all confusing. There's no picture there. So getting from confusion back to clarity. Well, there's three things to keep in mind: talking, writing, and resting. So to talk, that's pretty easy. Let's talk to a friend. Let's talk to our colleagues. Spend some time talking about the situation that you're in, explaining it. The process of assimilating your ideas into words about the situation helps to create clarity. It creates points of discussion. Now, if you don't have somebody to talk to, go for a walk and talk to yourself. I do this quite often. A couple of times a week, I'll spend some time on a walk and I will be talking to myself either out loud or in my mind about things that are concerning me. This helps to reinforce the important salient points of all the new information that you have. Point number two is to write. I use a notebook. You can use a computer, whatever tools you like, to summarize some of the things, some of the key points that you wanted to learn. Maybe you need to do some research to figure out what some of the words were and just to sort of understand them a little bit deeper. When I was on that trip, I spent a whole afternoon trying to figure a whole bunch of things out in preparation for an investor. So writing down was a really great way to help that. Now, the third thing to do is called rest. Actually, sleep. Sleep is a natural way for your brain to assimilate information. Good, well rested REM sleep, a proper night's sleep. Try to avoid alcohol. Try to get the appropriate number of hours that you need. And it does vary from people. Some people I know are fine on 5 hours, others need 10 hours. Whatever amount of sleep you need to get that. You'll often find clarity comes in the morning, that old expression of sleeping on it. Very important. I find sleep is often underrated. I actually invested in a Whoop because I believe it's so important for my functioning physically and mentally, and I'm often overloaded with lots of information. I need time to rest and let my mind actually work on those things. So to summarize, as a CEO or in life in general, you can find yourself overloaded with information which can create confusion. So to get back to clarity, I use the confusion to clarity circle. So at the top we have clarity, we get new information, we get some confusion, and then to get back up to clarity, I use the word endeavor. So we talked about 3 ways to do that: talking to people, other people, yourself, writing, and getting good rest, sleep, especially REM sleep. If you have any comments, please leave them in the description. We love to hear what people have to say about these videos. If you have any ideas for new videos, please put them in the description too, because we do like to make videos based on your suggestions. I hope that helped, and thanks for watching.